Hi guys, so welcome to this intro and part one of my Legion of Shadow walkthrough guide. So to explain what this is all about, I'm basically going to be talking you through my own play of the book, showing you the best gear and abilities to choose and the order of encounters to fight, basically to ensure your complete victory. I chose to play as a warrior because I felt this was the path that may have struggled the most in this book, certainly at the start, but it has now received quite a few quality of life updates. So specifically, I've gone for very much of a berserker style warrior, probably a little bit sort of inspired by the Blood Warrior build of Raiders of Dune Sea. So it's very much about light armor, hitting hard, high damage. With this build, I completed the game easily. I only suffered one death in the entirety of my adventure, and that death was in Act 2 and due to me purposefully chancing my luck against a legendary monster way before I should have done. You'll discover who in my later guides. So if you avoid making that stupid mistake, then you could be sailing through the whole book with a perfect record and have a super powerful warrior by the end that will be a great addition to your team battles in the Heart of Fire. Now, I don't necessarily recommend this guide for your first playthrough. I'd suggest having your own blind run of the book first to experience the game for yourself and have that proper, first time experience. This guide is very much a clinical, go here, do this, take this, fight this, do this, go here, etc. And probably much better for when you're on a second or even third playthrough or attempt at the book and just want to smash through the content as efficiently as possible. Just for clarification, in my run through, I'm using the latest patch notes. So these incorporate the changes that were introduced to the Italian edition of Legion of Shadow. The patch notes are available in the description below and on my website. I'll be referencing these as I go through the guide to flag up when items and encounters have been changed. Also, I would advise using the paperback edition of Legion of Shadow if you're following this guide. Otherwise, it may not make a huge amount of sense. Definitely avoid the ebook version because that version has not been updated since the very first printing of Legion of Shadow. So many items will be completely different. Combats may be a lot tougher with monsters having different statistics, and it won't really correlate with a lot of what I'm talking about in my guides. And thirdly, I'm aware that the current paperback editions that are out at the moment, I don't have colour maps anymore. Therefore, I will be doing my best to reference quests by their entry number as well as their colour. If you are lacking the colour maps, then the colour section is available on my website. Again, link below in the description. Finally, in my playthrough, I did not use any of the powerful Kickstarter items that were made available during my crowdfunding campaigns or previous promotional campaigns. Obviously, if you have these available and you want to switch them in, during your own playthrough, by all means do, but be prepared that your hero will be likely more broken and even more powerful than the one I will be creating for you. These items are listed in the player's guide, link in the description. I highly recommend you taking a look at the player's guide anyway. It's really fantastic. It has flowcharts. It gives you info on all the careers and where to find different alchemical reagents and yeah, it's just full and packed of really great info. So, but yeah, the Kickstarter items are all actually listed in that guide. So you can check out their stats and descriptions there and decide for yourself if and when you'd like to use any of them. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get started. Let's go. So this is Legion Walkthrough Guide Act 1. So the aim here in Act 1 is to build up our hero so we can take on and complete the special achievement in this act, which was a challenge set to me by somebody on Facebook, and I rose to the challenge. Our aim is to get a speed of 7 and a brawn of around 8 or 9 with some tasty abilities that will help carry us into the early stages of Act 2. Okay, let's go. So, following the prologue, our hero gains 10 gold, and we have the apprentice main hand sword, 1 brawn, 1 magic. So, the first place we're going to go to is straight into entry 15, Green Quest, Curse of the Cornfield. This is kind of a bit of a no-brainer. We're going to be fighting the Scarecrow. Funnily enough, some of these early combats are actually the most kind of difficult in a way because we have absolutely 0 abilities and we're kind of completely reliant on the dice. But that said, shouldn't be a problem. Wasn't a problem for me to get through this. When it comes to the first reward, we are most definitely taking the left-hand fist weapon, 1 speed, 1 brawn, which is the murder of crows. We then move on, fighting the Miststalker, easy. And from that we get the grime-stained key. Make a note of this because we will be using that later. So yeah, super short, very easy quest. Then we hop over to entry 22, another green quest called Best in Show. So yeah, we basically get caught up in some local competitive rivalry regarding the upcoming Best Root Vegetable Award. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, so when we meet and speak to Beatrice, agree to the task and battle the turnips. Again, easy combat at this stage. Once you've sliced and diced the turnips, when you speak to Martha, reveal Beatrice's plan and agree to help Martha. Don't offer her the 10 crowns. It basically gets you a ring with heal, but we don't need it, and keep your gold. Agree to switch the pies, then hide and wait, and then just let events play out. Because we didn't give her any money, we avoid that ending, so basically we get a different ending where we get to basically ransack and loot the cottage. So for our trouble, we get a healing salve which restores 6 health, and a miracle grow which gives us 2 brawn for 1 combat round. So loot those, stuff them in your backpack, happy days. Right, so a bit more of a meatier quest. But we're going to be taking an interesting path through this. So we hop over to entry 10, the final green quest, which is Scarlet in the Woods. So our first combat is against goblin poachers. Now we only have to reduce their health to 10, so we've got to knock off 10 health. It really is easy for us at this stage. When we meet Lysel, we cut her down. So she's a certain scarlet cloaked character. Wonder if that will be relevant in any later books. Anyway, demand that Lysel goes home. And yeah, that's fine because she's acting like a selfish brat. So she leaves, we breathe a sigh of relief, and then we continue. Now, when we get our next choices, we are going to head into the hills. We are not going to go to Grandma's cottage. There's probably a lot of people who know this book very well and will be screaming at me, why on earth aren't you going to Grandma's cottage? Because you can get the Goblin Kickers, which is a great pair of boots. Bear with. We are going to head into the hills because we get better gear. So we are going to fight the Huntsman, who's actually quite a nice guy, but hey, we don't really know that, do we, on this playthrough? So anyway, we attack him. This will be our toughest fight. But we have equal speed. We have a brawn of 2. I didn't have a problem with this. I don't think you'll have a problem with it. And for your efforts, you will get 15 gold crowns. You get the Huntsman's Axe, which is a main hand +2 brawn item, which we will most definitely be taking and ditching the apprentice. And also we get the Huntsman's Jerkin, which is a +1 armour chest piece. So, after all those green quests, we should be looking at a hero with 1 speed, 3 brawn, 1 armour, and we should be up to 25 gold crowns. So, we're going to go straight to the village of Tythebury, which is entry 6. Now, if you want to, you can go to the Pine Blackbird and you can gamble. I did a bit of a test gamble because I know that the odds are actually kind of slightly stacked in your favour. I did a test gamble spending 15 gold and then adding to that with an extra 5 gold, and I doubled on my bet and I actually got 40 gold out of that, just to prove to myself that, you know, you can get a lot of gold from that. But for the purposes of this walkthrough, I'm going to assume that I didn't gamble and I'm just moving ahead with the gold that I have earned through questing. But what I'm saying is, if you want to just have a bit of a gamble, go ahead. You'll be richer than I am. So yeah, instead of gambling in my playthrough, I headed to the market. We're going to speak to the tinker at 175, spend 12 gold, and buy the buckled boots, which is 1 speed, 1 brawn. These boots are absolutely fab, and they will carry us through into and including a lot of Act 2. So that will bring us to 2 speed, 4 brawn, 1 armour, and I have 13 gold left. I know you're probably looking at the notched blade from the tinker, it actually is tempting, but don't worry. What we have, we're good for the orange quests, and we'll be getting other gear soon. Now, a lot of people, I think, tend to gravitate towards whatever the weather quest, which I haven't actually noted down the number, but that is number 66. But this actually has quite a tough end fight. We're probably not quite ready for it. And we want to conserve as much of our consumables as we can. Therefore, I would say it's time for some good old rat extermination. So we're going to do Orange Quest 4 up in the top right corner. So chat to the kind of low-life guy who's hanging around. This is Rennie. Chat to him, get the quest started, then we're going to climb the ladder to the hayloft. So we then fight the ruffians. These guys hit pretty hard actually for this stage of the book, but thanks to our gear, we are equal speed, we have 1 armour to absorb incoming damage, and we have a beefy 4 brawn, which means we're doing some pretty good damage. In my play, I had some absolutely appalling early rolls with them getting quite a bit of damage onto me. I did it with 18 health left. And I've noted down here my only casualty, I broke my pencil while doing this. Okay. But yeah, it's very doable. Afterwards, you will gain 5 gold. So I'm now sitting at 18. And then make a note that we can take all of these rewards. So we're going to upgrade the main hand weapon that we have by taking Gilbert's club. Thank you, Gilbert. It gives us +3 brawn. More importantly, we're going to be snatching that cloak for a +1 speed. Okay, so our next story choice doesn't matter too much. It just changes the order of encounters. But we're going to choose to do our best impression of Gilbert. And then this will bring Rennie to us. and we fight Rennie first. So we match his speed, so it's even Stevens. Our brawn is going to carry us through this fight. On my play, I ended this on 15 health. And you'll certainly start to see that even just like 1 point of armor kind of really helps in just negating some of these early hits. So following that, we get 15 more gold. So that brings me up to 33. Take Rennie's Slicer, which is a left hand. It's a straight up replacement for Murder of Crows in terms of stats, but it does give us our first ability, which is First Cut, which on paper probably sounds a bit naff, but you know, doing 1 damage straight off the bat is, you know, it's okay. But more importantly, it'll be great once we get Bleed. So we now enter the farmhouse, and this is so we now have our first challenge, which I think, yeah, it's breaking down the door, isn't it? So we automatically win it because we already have 5 brawn. So there is totally no need to roll those dice. Flex those muscles, guys. Take the option to open the door, fight the rabid rats. They have a lot of health, no armor, super easy because we're hitting hard, and our armor negates their petty 1 point of brawn. From loot choices, grab the Gourd of Healing, so we now have 2 + 6 heals in our backpack. Take the Rat Bitten Gloves for yet another brawn boost. So they have +1 brawn and +1 magic. So we are now at 6 brawn, which is ridiculous. Take the stairs up. Right, you can attempt to open the closed door. It's a tougher challenge at brawn 11. We already have 6, so we only need to roll 5 or more on 2 dice. So, you know, technically it's in our favour. I literally, on my playthrough, rolled a 5. So I literally made it. Basically what happens is when you get into the room, you gain the missing link ring, which is a +1 brawn, +1 magic. So that will bring us up to 7 brawn, which is great. If you fail the challenge, don't stress about it. We'll be getting other gear later, so don't worry about it. So once that's done, proceed down the hall, open the door, and based on the choices we've made, we are of course going to entry 201 to battle the Ratling. This is going to be a 2-phase combat. We could have fought this guy potentially earlier, depending on our choices, but now we're a little bit better prepared to take him on. Phase 1 was really just getting him down to 12 health or less. We have a speed advantage, we hit hard. I mean, you may do this in literally 2 rounds. It took me 3, according to my notes. And then we move into the final stage, which should be a pretty easy finish with our stats. So, defeating him, get 5 more gold, so it brings our total to 38. And definitely grab the studded leather, just +2 armor, so it gives us an extra point of armor. So take Leader's Edge, which is a main hand weapon, +1 speed and +1 brawn. I know we lose 2 brawn from Gilbert's Club, but that speed point is super tasty, and we kind of want that to help carry us through our next quest. So with everything from that Rat Extermination quest, I was at 4 speed, 5 brawn, 2 magic, which you don't care about, 2 armor, and 38 gold. Yeah, and that, bear in mind that I succeeded with the challenge to get the missing link ring, so those stats are included in this. So yeah, we have 38 gold. If you want to do a bit more gambling, feel free. Then moving into the orange quest, whatever the weather, entry 66. This should be a breeze for us, no pun intended. It's a pretty linear quest, which is nothing new for this book, I'm afraid to say. So at the start, we meet Mercia, help fill her buckets. And we get a really nice +3 speed potion, I suppose, for our backpack, called Mercia's Brandy. Yeah, this will be really helpful in our fights with legendary monsters, or a legendary monster. So, following the narrative, we end up at the tower. We fight a storm elemental, who basically we should smash into next week. We have a +2 speed advantage. I did it easily, and he didn't win a single round, and I only took damage from his charged lightning ability. But then we move on to fight kind of slightly tougher foe. It's the Lake Spirit. But we only need to survive to the end of 5 combat rounds. So +2 armor is certainly going to help in terms of negating some damage. We are equal with speed now, thanks to Leader's Edge. So winning or drawing combat rounds is all that matters. We're not too concerned with doing damage. I did actually set myself a little challenge to see if I could actually completely annihilate this opponent in 5 rounds. Failed. But I managed to get him down to 24 health. For reference, he only hit me once, so it took me down to 22 health. Anyway, after all of that, we get a choice of 1 reward at 243. So, I think a lot of people tend to go for the hat, which they all wear the hat because it is speed, and we know speed is king. But we're going to be getting a better one later. So, I would take the weather ring, which gives us the lightning ability. So it means that every time we are hit in combat, we deal 2 damage back to our opponent. Super useful ability. Particularly if you have an unfortunate run of dice, you know, you're still chipping away at your opponent's health. Now, based off what we've equipped, yeah, so we're going back to town and we're going to buy a helm. I changed my plan at this point. So go back to the Tinkerer and get the simple quaff. I think that's how you pronounce quaff. Which gives us +1 brawn and +1 armor to a head slot for 12 gold. It's because it's going to help us in our next fight against a legendary giant. Also, I grabbed a pot of healing from the apothecary for 5 gold, just in case. So now we stand at 4 speed, 6 brawn, 2 magic, 3 armor, and we have 4 backpack slots filled with some nice boosts to speed, brawn, and health. So we're looking in pretty good shape. So it's time to take on an angry territorial giant. So this is the legendary monster at entry 29. Humbaroth. So stats-wise, he's not actually that scary for us, except for the fact that he has a lot of brawn. So he hits super hard, but we have healing. Although I would suggest trying to save your consumables. Just remember, if you die, you can just rinse and repeat the combat. He is very doable, so even if you have a really, really unlucky run with him, just repeat the combat. Don't forget you have first cut to do 1 damage straight away. We have the lightning ability now to hit back at him when he hits us. So yeah, in my fight, I did it first time. I did have to pop my +4 health potion, otherwise he would have killed me. But his lightning damage... Oh yeah, so during the whole fight, lightning damage took 4 off him in the fight, which didn't make too much of an impact. As my final hit, when he had 1 health left, was a whopping 8 damage after armor. So anyway, I ended the whole fight on 4 health. So it was kind of, yeah, pretty close. Anyway, what we're here for is Skullbreaker. So this upgrades us by giving us 1 brawn, and also gives us the lovely pound ability, which is it gives us, so it boosts our damage score by 3, but it reduces our, it does reduce our speed, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure it's reducing our speed by 1 on the next round, isn't it? Yeah, you must lower your speed by 1. So I would say it's a kind of a good desperation ability for like near at the end of a combat when you just desperately just want to finish it off quick and possibly not, boost that damage and just pray that you finish it off quickly and that -1 speed doesn't impact too much. Anyway, at the end of this encounter, we're at 4 speed, 7 brawn, which is really good, 2 magic and 3 armor, and we have 21 gold. But there's no time to rest, guys. We're going to head straight back into Tidebury, and we are doing the Down the Well quest, which is the first of our blue quests. This whole quest shouldn't prove too much of a challenge for us with our current stats, and we can bag some more loot to prepare us for the tougher encounters coming up. And specifically, we're going to be looking... do we get the gauntlets? I've written gauntlets here, but I don't think we actually get them. I know we get a necklace item, a chest item, and a talisman. So anyway, we've got lots to grab. It's very kind of path complex quest, this. But anyway, so first off, at entry 72, chat to the villagers, ask for a reward, and get 10 gold. Nice. Take the torch and then head down. Now, at our first set of choices, we are going to head east to 248. Investigate the side passage and battle the burrower worm. We're equal with speed. It has a nasty acid ability that can do additional damage, but for us, this should be and will be a super easy fight. I even did it without needing to use my pound ability. We get choice of items. Oh yeah, we do get the gauntlets. Yeah, gauntlets are a no-brainer. We take those to replace the rat-bitten gloves, and we gain armor, and we get the acid ability, which in a lot of combats I do actually tend to forget to use, but it gives us 1 extra damage on each dice we roll for our damage score. Continue on, and then we battle the burrower alpha, who does have a speed advantage, but brawn at this point plus lightning means that easy win, easy win. However, following the fight, we have to lose 1 armor. I would suggest taking it off the chest piece because we will be replacing it soon. So we are going to be dropping back down to 3 armor. And speaking of dropping, jump down the pit. When we've jumped down in the cave, search to find the beads of brilliance. These are literally brilliant because we have no neck item at the moment, so this fills out that slot with a +1 brawn and +1 magic. Magic we don't care about, but it doesn't matter. This takes our brawn to 8, which is kind of our aim for this act, which is crazy. Our speed is still pretty shabby, but we're going to be sorting that out soon. So proceed onwards, cut your way through the webbing. Yeah, we have an easy encounter with a giant spider. Okay, venom can be nasty, but yeah, it only has 3 brawn for its damage. It's easy. So after that encounter, we get a spider's leg. Now, I would say ditch it, because basically the spider's leg is a component to make which can be used in Act 2 to make a speed potion. But the thing is, a spider's leg just takes up valuable backpack space. Yeah, note to the writer of this book, should not have been a backpack item. The writer is an idiot. Anyway, climb back up to where we dropped down the pit. Continue onwards to the flooded tunnel. Dive in and risk exploring the opening. So we have a tricky challenge here. We need to roll 6 or more on 2 dice. Now, I succeeded. I rolled a 9, so I passed. But I thought for the purposes of this guide, I'm going to assume that I didn't. So I don't have any potential unfair advantage. But if you do succeed with it, then for definite, grab the web-coated jerkin, which is a chest item. It gives you +1 brawn, and it has the amazing webbed ability, which is absolutely great, and you get 20 gold too. Forget the rest of the loot for now. And then if you're following that path, continue, go ahead, and you'll end up at the boss spider. So our paths will be joining up. But for now, I decided it was only fair that I assume I failed that check, so I don't get that chest item. I do get a torch back though. Great. So we end up following the failed path, battling through another burrow worm, which I had to double check I hadn't made a mistake there, because like, why would I have to fight another one of those? Anyway, and then afterwards we cross the webbed cave. We have to do a speed check. Failing isn't the worst case, because you just fight some spiders again, easy, and you get another spider's leg, as I said before. Keep it if you want, but really a waste of space. We need backpack space. So we finally arrive at the big spider spindle. So this is our first kind of big encounter of this act. Now, because I had the torch, we should have, if we failed that challenge, we'll have our torch. We ignore her webbed ability, which is pretty good. And that's going to help us a lot in this pretty tough fight. So in my playthrough, I did it with 1 health remaining. I had some absolutely shockingly unlucky rolls, which means that that annoying venom was really ravaging me with that 2 damage. However, that said, we do seriously good damage with 8 brawn. I mean, in one of my rounds, I hit for 15 with pound, plus I remember to actually use acid, which was good. So I'd just say persevere with this fight. Avoid using health pots if you can. Although, I mean, we do have 31 gold, and if you manage to make that other flooded cave check, then you will have 51. So I suppose if you do absolutely need to use one of your health pots, then you may as well do it, because you can always go back to town and just buy a replacement. Or more importantly, I'd probably say, yeah, buy a +4 health pot to replace any that you've used. So yeah, so there's some randomness here in this combat, but you know, it shouldn't be too infuriating for us at this point. So rewards, choices here are pretty tough. For Rogue, the dagger is an absolutely no-brainer, but for us, I mean, yeah, it would be nice. It would be a great quality of life boost having Venom, but it doesn't boost our speed. So therefore, we are going to be taking the Talisman. We are going to be replacing this soon, but for now, it's going to help us win rounds in the tougher fights to come. So this gives us +1 speed and the charm ability. Yeah, so also if you didn't torch the web, then you'll get spindle silk. Leave it, we don't need it, because spindle silk is really for crafting mage items and we don't need it. And then, so we finally get out of the well, we get 10 gold crowns reward. So, to end up this part, because I'm conscious that it's getting a little long, we end this section with 5 speed, 8 brawn, 9 if you manage to get the web tunic, 2 magic, 3 armor, and I had 41 gold. So we've gained acid and charm through that quest. You may also have webbed, which is great. So after all that questing and slaying, hey, I'd say it was time to take a break. Head to the Pine Blackbird, have a well-earned keg of ale, and prepare yourself, because the next part we're going to be taking on a legendary bear. And he's very, very angry. So, see you in the next one, and happy adventuring, guys.